with respect to the same area, we are again going for the different options we can use in a mesh tool. So we are knowing we are going to mesh this particular thing with respect to the tria, but we are not controlling any kind of a size and shape for that one. But now we are going to control our size and shape for a triangular element. So just say over here in a meshing, instead of going for the size control through the ANSYS main menu, we are going for the mesh tool option. Single click again. Now we are knowing we should keep our element attributes without forgetting on a global over here. Once we are setting it on a global, we are now switching on for this particular icon is known as a smart size. We are not going to control any kind of a size with respect to the calculations according to our element edge length requirement. We are just switching on for the smart size, and if we are going for the triangular mesh and our mesh density must be higher, so we are saying our mesh must be fine. If we are needing less number of elements, so we will keep it on coarse. Otherwise we will going to over here and just say fine mesh. Once we are saying for a fine mesh, then we are going for the meshing with respect to the area over here. Shape goes for a triangle, and we are again saying for a free mesh. Just say mesh. Select that particular area and just say OK. We can check over here now our element density is much more than the previous case, which we haven't set any kind of an element edge length. Now we are also now setting we are not setting any kind of an element edge length, but still we are again going for the setting of a coarse and a fine with respect to the smart size. This is the use we can go for a smart size. So in this way we can go for a smart size use. So again say resonate, say clear our mesh besides our mesh, say clear for this particular area and just say OK. Now again we can go for a meshing with respect to the element size control. So a single click over here, switch off the smart size. Now we are knowing how to set the global for that particular size control in an area through this size control manual size option. But now we are going to set our area requirement with a size control option in a mesh tool. Just single click in front of the set of a global. When we are going for size control, we should click over here. Then we are having a new pop-up window for global element size. Here we are having two different options. One we are familiar with is an element edge length, and next is number of element divisions. So at this stage we are going to enter for the element edge length. Say instead of a 0, I know this particular height goes for a 5, otherwise we can cross check this particular geometry. Just select the key point distance from this to this. This particularly comes over here as a 5. So we are very well familiar with this particular thing that our minimum geometry length goes 5. My requirement is 5. I should have a 5 number of triangular element along this smaller size. So 5 by 5 the ratio comes 1. I am going to set my element edge length as a 1 and just say OK, and then say mesh over here. Select that particular area and just say OK. Once we are going for this particularly, we can see the difference while meshing 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 elements. So in that ways it will calculate for the larger sites over here. So this is the way we can control our element edge length over here with respect to the mesh tool option. Now suppose if we need to go for a meshing in such a cases that I need a higher number of element in the center region instead of going for the increasing the density in the rest of the area. So I will say a mesh tool. In mesh tool I am having a next option to the mesh is refine at. I am going to refine this particular mesh with respect to the element. We are having a different option. So we are going to see first for an element refining, and then once we are setting this particular thing with respect to the element, just say refine. Now I need to refine with respect to these particular elements which comes under the center of this particular geometry. we are going to set these things over here. I need an higher element density for these particularly. Instead of this particular element 5 elements, I am needing more than 5. Just select those elements, just select over here. Once we are saying OK after selection, we are having a new pop-up window. Up to what level we need to go for the refining of those particular elements. So we are having 5 different stages. First stage stands for the minimum refinement. Second is a moderate one. Third and fourth are the medium levels, and last is the highest divisions for that 5 elements without losing any kind of nodal connectivity. Just say over here I am setting for the first thing as a refinement at a minimum level or a minimal level, and just select and say OK. Once we are selecting, we are cross-checking over here. Our element density increased over here. Previously there was only 5, now we are having more than 5 over here. So in this way we can go for the finer density of element. Again, say over here I need to refine my elements at this particular corner. I will say box pick, select that particular corner elements over here. Just say OK. Now I will show you how the maximum refinement is. Set it on a 5, a level 5. Select a 5 and just say OK. Check the element density change over here. We are having a very fine element with a very high density. Instead of disturbing the another densities over here, we are disturbing only for that one, and we are getting a finer mesh on that particular region over here. So whenever we are having a critical region in our geometrical analysis, we need to go for a fine mesh in that particular zone. So this is the way we should go for the refinement of an element or the meshing. So again we should go and say clear this particular mesh. Plot our areas back over here. Now again one option is remaining. We are very familiar with the creation of a triangle and a free with respect to the global set. Now clear our global. Besides our setting, we are having a clear option. Say clear. It's cleared. It's not having any kind of a divisions over here. So what exactly this particularly number of element division stands for? We are knowing this particular smaller length is 5. We can calculate according to the desired, and we are having a ratio as a 1 because our desire was 5 and our total height, minimum height is 5. So 5 by 5 the ratio comes 1. That's why we were setting 1 over here. But now we need to set for this particularly. So in this case I need to set number of element divisions along each and every line. So whatever the length of that particular geometry is having, we are not going to bother that one. We are directly saying I need 10 number of element along each and every line. Just say over here 10 and just say OK. So once we are setting our number of divisions, we should say mesh it. Select that particular geometry and say OK. Once we are saying OK, now we can check the difference with respect to the meshing. We are having 10 elements along our smaller edge also, and along our maximum edge over here of a geometry. So whenever we are going for the one-dimensional mesh, then only it is supposed to go for number of element divisions. It is better to use for that one, not for your 2D or a 3D mesh. We should not use that one. If we are having an exactly square or a exactly square block, so we can go for a number of element divisions also, but we are not supposed to go for irregular geometries with respect to this particular option. So we are going to clear it. We say OK. Say plot our areas back. Now we need to go for a quadratic mesh over here. So in quadratic we are again having two different options. One is free and one is map. We are very well familiar with a free and a map, so no need to explain what exactly the map is. So we are going to see first for a map meshing. I'm going to set for a global over here. Instead of division I'm going to set over here as a 1. We are knowing 5 by 5 comes 1. Just say OK. Once we are setting our global, say quad with respect to the map, because this particular side is having 3 or 4 sided area. just say mesh, select that one, just say OK. Once we are saying OK, we are having that particular part meshed over here. We can say plot our elements, the small chords over here. So this is the way we can go for a chord mesh or a map mesh with respect to the mesh tool over here. So in this class we are knowing how to go for a map mesh and how to control our size and all with respect to the 2D area. In the next session we are going to deal with respect to the same options in a 3D cases.